Recording is on.
Hello.
Hi, Gorky. Hi, Mike.
Hello.
Hi, Andresh. Hi, Prenam.
Hi.
Hello.
I have a question about Cypress even before we get started. So recently I was trying to write a test for like a presentation slideshow, and it doesn't matter in which iframe or element I select and try to press the escape, it never exits. Anyone has any idea about that?
Yes, there are some limitations in Cypress, but I don't know all the details, so I cannot help just now. But possibly you could read the Cypress documentation because they have a lot of different cases covered then. So maybe you will find something.
Hey everyone. How are you
Hi,
doing?
Michael. The questions are already starting.
Oh, fantastic. Even before the talk. I
Yes.
love it. Look at that. Like everyone should be here. We should all be writing unit tests at top speed. So let's wait a little bit for more people to come.
Yes, that's what I was just about to say. Probably a couple of minutes before we start.
Yeah.
Hi, Attila, Path, Skylar, Miklosh, Darshan. Hello, everybody joining.
Hello.
Hi, Benobi, Quailion, Richard.
While we're waiting, is there a general CI problem with this save disconnection thing test, which is test save on disconnection? It's a C++ test and it's failing for me in weird ways.
Failing with CI or failing locally? CI, I imagine. Does it have a certain kind of junk after a string? I think I've seen that today.
Yeah, the junk is actually a random string we generate, so it's what sort of supposed to be kind of weird. Although whether
Yes.
we should have random strings in tests is another question. But
I saw that, and that is new for me as of this morning, last night. So maybe it's new.
okay, yeah, I'm just debugging it, trying to get it not to do stupid stuff. But maybe the copy and paste code changed in the core. It's possible.
Hi, Aaron. Hi, Balash, Benobi, Byram. So it's 12:05. So let's get this training underway. So hello everybody and welcome to the Friday Tea Time training today. Today we have Szymon, who with the topic of Cypress testing tips, tricks and creating a new test. So Szymon, if you'd like to begin. Just one more notification that we are recording this and it will be available on our YouTube channel. So over to you, Szymon.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So, as Laser said, it will be about Cypress and, in general, our testing infrastructure in Collabora Online. So we will see what we are using and how to, for example, check results and run this locally, and how we can add new tests, because possibly we have many new contributors. So these are useful things to know. Yes, and like Michael said, we all should write tests. And after thinking a bit about that, I get a conclusion that it's like insurance, because nobody likes to do this job upfront, but actually it's very useful after something finally fails, because then you see, oh, my test is doing something because it prevents from introducing a bug. But sometimes we forgot to add tests, so we should do this when possible. And it's very useful as a documentation for the future, because if you work on something, possibly you will forget in a month to how it works and what was the expected result in some corner case, or how to reproduce some past bug in the reliable way. So that should help us with this. Of course, we can have different tests on many levels. I will not like dig into this. I will just call some tests unit tests, which are rather local, test small pieces of the code, and integration tests, which are testing the complete solution. Like in Collabora Online, we have clients and the server, and they communicate over network. So these integration tests will test the both sides, and unit test will be something on only one of them, like only the testing the JavaScript classes, or maybe testing some modules in the core. And of course, we have to balance that, because for some unit tests usually will be quicker to run and easier to debug, because you will see what is failing, because it's some small piece. And in this integration test, you will see that something failed, but you don't know where, because this is very complex scenario, because you did many things and there is a lot of communication. So we cannot cover everything with only the integration tests, possibly, because it would be too hard to debug, and we cannot do only unit tests, because they are not testing the complete product. And yes, it's very important to have reliable tests, because if they are like returning the random result, as we had sometimes in the past, then people just skip them and don't even check the logs, but just retry. So we have to be sure that all tests are working correctly. But I hope currently it is quite good, and only sometimes we have failures, like in these C++ tests recently. Yes, and what do we use? We use the Jenkins as a tool for running tests, and we have C++ tests in the server part, which are about the actual server. They live in the test directory. And on the front end, we have different tools, like there is some duplicated code checker. There is coding style check, which is called Preter, which can also fix the coding style. We of course have linter, both for CSS and JavaScript, TypeScript, and also when we compile TypeScript code, we also have some files marked as strict, so they have even more checking. but the real tests are done using the Cypress and Mocha, or how is it called? I don't know how to pronounce that, but the Cypress is doing the integration test, so it runs both the server and the front end, but Mocha is rather like testing particular pieces of JavaScript without running the server. And yes, maybe we will start with how to check the status of tests in GitHub, because I saw sometimes people on the GitHub who were not able to fix tests when they are like first time contributing to the project. So of course you can click, we have this frame on the bottom of the pull request where you see all the status for the tests, and you can just click on that link, that name of the job, like in this case, cool 2504 Cypress mobile, or also there is on the right side this hamburger menu or triple dots, which shows the menu with view details. As you can see, some steps are marked as required. They have to pass to, so we will be able to merge the pull request, and some are optional and don't have that. It's a bit different than in Gerrit, because in Gerrit you can see all the previous runs for the same change for every revision, but on GitHub you will be able to see only the last state in this frame, and for the previous commit, if you didn't force push, you will see sometimes the status next to the hash and name of a commit, and you can then preview the previous state, but it's not always visible, like I said. So we have to enter the Jenkins to find the previous jobs. And yes, if you click on that link, you will open the Jenkins, and you can just click on the console output to see the logs, and they will be the usual logs you can produce locally if you run tests on your machine. And if some of tests failed, you don't have to like run all of the steps. If only mobile failed, I would recommend to just retry that one step, because we have a lot of pull requests, and then everyone has to wait, even if that test was already passing in the previous runs. So if you have account, you can log in Jenkins and click the retry button, and it will run only this step, the mobile. Of course, it adds that to the queue, so if there is a lot of other jobs, you will have to wait until it starts. But yes, it will be done in the future. And if you want to just run locally to reproduce, you can of course run all of this locally. There is one non-obvious step, which is called cool 2504 unit test without Cypress, and it contains both the C++ test, but what is maybe not obvious, it will also do the linting and check the formatting of the JavaScript and TypeScript code. And sometimes it fails. Then at the end, you will see just a clear message that the formatting is wrong in this file. Please fix it. And to fix the formatting, we have even automatic command to do this. The third one in this frame if you will run this, you will get the correct formatting, and it is enough to just commit that. If something fails on the linting step, you can also run just that. You don't have to do all the other checks like C++. We also have some other tests there in this step, which are unit tests for the JavaScript, and also we check the application in the code. Currently, it's set only for 17 lines or more, so it rarely fails, but it is there, and it is defined in the browser package.json. So there is the script which we can run, and also there are tests, unit tests for JavaScript. This much I think. And to run both of them, you can execute the make check local in the browser directory. And then we have separate steps for different kind of Cypress tests. They all are defined in the Cypress test directory. In the makefile, we have separate tests for desktop, mobile. There is idle, which I think is not running on the CI currently, if I'm not mistaken. And then there is also multi-user job. You can run them in two modes. One is just run in the console, and they will produce the logs. And this is make check thing, and you can run also only one of the variants, like make check desktop, and also if only one test fails for you, you can add additional parameter. I forgot to put it here. It is called spec, and then you can just put the name of the test, which will be executed. There is also the interactive mode, which is useful for debugging, because you will see the browser and what it does. So you will see what happens on the screen if it's not obvious from the logs. Yes, here I have video if someone didn't know about this mode. You will have this list of steps on the left and the preview on the right. You can even press F12 and open the browser DevTools to debug something inside this mode. And actually this video, which I'm showing here, wasn't recorded by any screen grabber, but I recorded this using the built-in Cypress feature. It is possible to change the configuration in this Cypress test directory, cypress.config.ts, and there is property video. You can set this to true, and then it will record the test. I don't know, maybe that will be useful at some point for someone. And yes, about the visual testing, we also have possibility to check the content on the screen. We can just do a screenshot of the full screen, or maybe only some element, and compare this with reference image. We store these reference images in the Cypress test integration test snapshot base directory, and if test will fail, it will produce also the actual directory with the wrong results, so you can check what was the difference. And maybe if you run this first time, you will just produce the reference image using that, if you will not use the special parameter which is for that case. Yes, and for visual testing in Cypress, we use plugin which is called Cypress Visual Regression, and yes, there is a good documentation. There is only few different parameters you can use on the GitHub, and it is enough to add test with just this one line to, for example, take a screenshot of some component which is visible just after we load the document. It's just a compare snapshot, and we give the name of the file which will be produced, or maybe with which file it will be compared, with which image. And also we can pass some options, like we don't want to have pixel by pixel equal image. Maybe we want some threshold, then we can add this to the options. But recently I saw that there is also built-in functionality for that, for doing screenshots in Cypress. It wasn't available in the past, so maybe it will be good to take a look at this documentation. Maybe I saw there is a lot of different things you can do with that. I think it's more advanced, so we will be able to just drop that plugin, but I don't know if it's better currently. Yes, and about adding new tests to Cypress, we don't need to add them to any makefile or any register. Cypress will just automatically detect that there is new file. It is enough to put this in correct directory. We have the tests in integration tests directory, and then there are separate folders for desktop, mobile, and then Writer, Impress, Calc applications. And data for the test, the document, presentation, or spreadsheet, you can put into Cypress test data folder. And it also has the same structure, the desktop, Calc, Writer, and similar folders. Also, we have a good collection of helper methods, so you don't have to write a lot in the test, because we have most of the common and often repeated actions already in these helpers. You can find them in integration test common directory. The most popular ones are the helper for loading the file, reloading the file, saving, and also maybe checking the position of the scroll bar. This is useful for testing the view jump, or yes, or actions like scrolling with the keyboard. Yes, and how that Cypress test looks like, we can group them into specs. Then you have this description of a group, where you have the human readable name, which will appear in this in Cypress logs. Then you can set up something before each test. You can add also other callbacks, like after each and similar. We usually use before each to load the document. Sometimes we switch the mode of the UI to tabbed or compact one, and then we can add particular tests. They will be running one after another, and before each test we will call this function. So it should have all the common code for the test cases. And in the test case, we again have human readable name and the function to make the actual test. we can use different assertions by this function cget. We get the DOM element, which is interesting for us, and then we can assert that with different should parameters, because there is a couple of different things you can check using this, and we can of course chain a few of them, so and they all should pass on single element we got, because if you will put a few of the calls one after another, maybe if something will be changed in the meantime, you will have like few of them passing on the other element than other. We can also skip some tests if we know they are wrong and we want to keep them, but maybe fix later to have the green CI. So we just add the dot skip. And if you are debugging, it's always useful to add dot only, so you will run only the one of them which is failing, so you don't have to wait until all of them are finished. As I said, we can have multiple assertions. Cypress has this chai library used, so you can check the documentation and see all of the possibilities. And what is important, the assertions are like they have timeout, and they repeat the checks until the timeout is out. So if first time it will not pass, it still will retry that in the future if the element was changed. So you just write what is the state you want to achieve. So until this state is not achieved, it will just wait for some changes, and only after the timeout it will fail. I think we have 10 seconds of a timeout currently by default. And you can simulate the user interaction with elements. Of course, you can do a click, double click. You can check some checkboxes and also do different keyboard actions. It is also useful to read the documentation there. And what is important is to be aware that almost all what we do requires the server interaction. So we have to send some message to the server and then receive the message which comes back. So it takes time, and it is important to have because everyone can have different performance on a local machine. CI can also have different speed. So it is possible that it will pass on some machines and not in other cases. And this is because there is some timing issue, and you should always be sure that current state is good enough to start with the next step, that we received all the information and did all the changes we needed. So we will not do another action on a wrong state, or maybe accept something when it's not ready yet. We also should avoid the force true option, which is used in some places, because it just ignores some of the default checks. Like if we do a get on and we try to get some element, by default it checks if it is visible, and we cannot click and not have not visible element, because user will also not be able to do that. And also, if we have this interaction with a server, we could use wait, but it's also bad because it can always be slower because of the load on the server, and then it will be happening after delay and a few milliseconds, then it will fail. And also there is some important difference between then and should, because then is used for single one-time actions, like you want to modify something and later test the state. It shouldn't, the callback in then shouldn't be used for checking anything, because possibly it will cause some problems. And should is used for checking and assertions, and it will repeat until the timeout is finished, like I said before. We can also, because we from the get function we don't get the DOM element, but rather wrapper from Cypress. But sometimes we want the DOM element, DOM node. So we can do this by using then, and possibly that's the reason why people use that. Then you can in the callback do some actions on that row element, and in case you want again the Cypress wrapper, you can wrap that with this function and do some other things. And there are also useful checks if you want to verify if something happened, like some functions were called. This is the fragment I just saw recently during a review, and actually it contains both of them, so I use it here. We can have the spy function, which listens on this this object and a function. We can give also the names for different objects using this as function. And later, as you can see, we can check if this send message with at the beginning was called with some parameters. And also there is a stop function which can like prepare a stop, and you can also check if something like that was called. I think that's all from me. I think there were some questions on the chat, but I didn't read it yet.
Wow. Well, lots of great stuff there, Szymon. Yeah. Do you want to talk about this scigget thing? I think we had in the past these horrible problems with iframes and Cygwin and it was Cypress rather. And it's also not particularly obvious what code is executing in what frame or how it all goes together.
Yes, I forgot to include this multi-document test because in the Cypress we have CY get, but in our tests we use the custom wrapper, which is here, CY get, and we should use this one because it will be working correctly. We also have the function which selects if we have multi-user test, we have two iframes, one on the left side, one on the right side. They are like separate users. And if we want to do some actions on the left side, we use some special function to switch to the iframe one. Then we do some actions for that view, and then we can switch to other iframe and do other set of actions. So we will not confuse the windows, because I think previously we used different approach. We had separate script for 2 iframes, and they were running in parallel. And it was really complicated to get it right and do everything in parallel correctly. So this is used for the new.
I think it's worse than that, though, isn't it, Szymon? Like the whole thing under the hood is it's really quite odd with all these promises and asynchronicity. And isn't it also running across multiple iframes itself? So like the Cypress test thing exists outside the application and then has to talk into the iframe of the application that's testing. It's quite unusual when you start debugging it, isn't it?
Yes. If we open the interactive view and we start to debug with the dev tools, in the inspect tab, we will see that the root is the Cypress and Cypress interface, and then you have the iframe of your application, and of course our application runs another iframe with the actual app, because we have this page which embeds the cool app. But I don't know the details from the when this get was introduced, because I didn't work
Gokai,
a lot in that.
I think Gokai did that. Isn't that right, Gokai? Are you with us? But I was involved with it because nothing worked. And then somehow we made it work. And I forget the exact details. If you're here, Gokai, you're muted. So. But anyway, it's good fun to debug. Thanks so much for the overview, Szymon. Really good.
Yes.
We have a question from Mike. Mike, do you want to?
Yes, I wanted. I have something between a question and something to think about. We definitely need more and more unit tests. We need some policy similar to what Miklos created for some areas in core. No change without a test. But how to do that? Could it be possible to create some easy hackable procedure so that a person who files an issue on GitHub or something like that, or who confirms it, so that they could create a unit test from start, the failing unit test, like in test-driven development, but just for the problem, so that later it would be necessary for the fix to also fix the failing unit test. And this would this initial pre-created unit test would be possibly something for people to get familiar with DOM, with get started with development in this way. So it possibly could bring more tests and more interested people to the project.
So you mean
just
that?
As a
So you mean that if there is an issue, we could ask someone from the community to create the failing unit test, at least for that. Not a fix, but just unit test, right?
Right.
As an easy hack. I don't know. I don't have answer. But I think most of people who create issues are like not developers, but rather users. So possibly it will be hard to get people to do this. I don't know.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? If not, I'll just go through the names of everyone who's on my screen. Okay, so let's start. So if I start with Attila, Quaylon, Pranam, and Andresh. Any questions?
Hello. I just have a comment about when I saw that make prettier right. It's cold even in locality when I want to commit, and I found the strange thing about it that it's check the actual files, not what I am added to Git, and sometimes I was trapped in with it because when I ran this make prettier right, I just instantly made the commit again, and then it's not failed at this time, and I didn't even add it to the Git. So, well, it's just a comment that maybe we could try to somehow find what is even added to the commit there. But that's only just a small thing. And the other one, I just figured out this code duplicating check. I understand that it's an important thing, but in some cases, it could be also a problem. I mean, if there is two places where you want to use similar things, and sure we can avoid duplicating code, but sometimes it has more overhead just to avoid duplicating code and making more
No, I don't think so, Attila. Like duplicating code in any significant volume is nearly a firing offense if it's in something we need to maintain.
I
If it's in
mean,
a test, fine. But if it's in the product that we're going to maintain for 25 years, and we have now two near copies of something with a strange difference we don't understand, that's horrifying, and we really shouldn't do that.
I mean special cases, not like a big chunk of codes, but we, as far as I understand, if there is 20 line of code, and even if those lines are contains only one one words in every line of code, it will make an error, and in my case, I found that there was one class that I had to make something similar, and I cloned it. I changed all the things that had to be changed, but there was one function that only call its super function with some parameter, and well, it's called with the same parameter, and there was other two function next to it which halfway was same, but the lines of codes added up to like 20 lines, because even an opening block starting.
Yeah, so let's just cut this short out. So, I mean, I'd love to see the patch, but in general, we shouldn't be having lots of boilerplate text. We should be
Yeah, I agree. That's why I said that it's a good thing, but there are some cases when if I make
So I don't know that this is related to Cypress, and I think we should probably move on.
Okay, yes, you're right. Thank you. Then that's all.
Thanks.
Okay, the next.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't aware of this CY spy thing, which looks like it might be something I should have been using. But in general, when finding things to wait for, what way do you do it? I mean, for example, select text and you want to wait for the status bar to update. Do you just dig around in the Explorer till you find it, or do you use something to give you a list of all the things that actually change?
Yes, so after a long time of fixing all of these issues, I think possibly we should have some flag for cases like that when we want to select some piece of text and be sure that actually we received the correct answer. Because yes, usually we check status bar, like how many words is selected, or maybe if the number of the page is matching some expected value. So yes, it's hard to find the correct check, which will make us sure that everything was processed already.
Yeah, so for the case that I was looking at, if I'd known about CY Spy, I might have been just waiting for the message I expected back from the server and not for what happens after that 10 steps later. So that maybe is the thing I need.
Yes, like with this spy thing, we could check, or maybe mock something, and but then it will not be integration test with the server.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Thanks, Kalon. Okay, so the next people I have on my screen are Aaron, Michael, Balash. Any questions, comments? Michael, any questions or comments?
None for me. I was intrigued indeed to see the spy stuff that you had there, and it seems like that could be a really good tool for waiting till something actually happens. Like waiting till a message arrives or whatever. I wonder if we could build some helpers on top of that.
Yes, I think that's useful for that, like Kalon said, and actually that was test introduced by Jaume, and I saw that and I said, oh, it's very useful, so I included here.
Nice work, Jaume. Great work. Love it.
Okay, next people on my screen are Bonobi, Bayram, Darshan, and Gorkay. Any questions or comments from you guys? No questions?
Hello. Sorry, no questions from me. And yes, I worked on the cget functions, Michael. Sorry for the late answer. Thanks.
Brilliant, thank you. I then have Miklos, Skylar, Mohit, and Path.
I would have two questions. Both are related to debugging a failing Cypress test. So one thing that I run into is if you add random console log statements to the test so that you would do printf debugging for the failing test. And in some cases, just those printfs themselves influence the test outcome. Like if you are inside some callback or async thing, then if you try to print, then the test is behaving different how it would normally do that. Is that something that's really weird, or is that a well-known thing and it's obvious to everyone apart from me? Like that was a bit surprising and not too helpful in debugging.
Yes, Cypress, how it works is you provide this callback, and what this callback does is it builds the queue of the actions to do, and they are promises. And if in one promise, when it's executed, you will add another promise, it can maybe the order was important. So you have to be careful where it is done, I think.
So in general, it is meant to be safe to do console log statements at various places in test code. Is that what you say? Or...
Yes, I think it should.
Okay, good.
But maybe you don't expect that it will happen in the different moment.
Yeah, that's great. So that was just some small oddity and not the general breakage. That's great.
I don't know that that's totally clear. So Miklos, when people read the Cypress test, usually they don't realize how asynchronous they are. And so they think they can do this scigget.do, do all this something. And then after that, they can do a printf of something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But actually, this is complete nonsense because all of that stuff executes immediately. And then it waits, then the engine goes away and processes all these promises later, probably in a different iframe. So it takes a little bit of thinking to get used to the idea that it's really not happening now.
Yes. That's fine. What was surprising back in the clipboard world is I had a case where I had a bunch of printout debugging that suggested something. I tried to fix things, and actually it was fixed, but not until I removed my debug printouts, and that was a bit depressing. But if this is not a general problem, then I'm much more happier. So that's good. That was the question. And the other small thing is you mentioned that you can debug the test in the normal DevTools debugger. But if the test is finishing in 3 seconds, then it's a little bit tricky to pause the test before it completely finishes and closes the window and so on. So what's your trick around that to just start in the debugger by the test that by the time the test is starting?
So you can even use very long wait, but there is also some function to stop that execution.
Okay, so debug wait as a temporary local concern. That's good. Thanks. That was everything from me.
Thanks, Miklos. Szymon, should we look at the comments that are in the chat? So we have Path is asking, is there any documentation or README about all the methods that can be used when writing a test case?
Yes, so I attached some links to the Cypress documentation because they have every function listed there and a lot of descriptions. So just read the Cypress documentation. They have even like guides how to write good tests and examples how to write something broken. Like we mentioned that it's very asynchronous, so you have to be careful. So it will be useful to read that, and I have a few links in this presentation. And I saw there was a comment from Skylar that how to rerun individual Cypress tests. So there was idea like that, I think, from Rush on cool days, that there are some wrappers around Cypress, but I don't know if we can deploy it quickly. Just to check what fails quickly, I created my tool. I think I shared that with some of us, and then you can just quickly see the list of tests which failed in this job. So you don't need to scroll a lot. But I don't think we can just restart single Cypress test on a CI.
Brilliant. Thanks, Szymon. Is there any other questions or comments?
I guess just encouraging people to have a go and write more tests, adapt, take, borrow, copy paste another test. That's fine. I think test code, nice to refactor it if we can, but really we need to be testing things as quickly as we can. And along those lines, I'm still trying to fix the CI failures, which hopefully we now have a fix for. So good.
Thanks, Michael. So if there's no more comments or questions, thank everybody for attending today's TTI training, and I shall see you all next week. Thank you.
Thanks, Laser. Bye all.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.